Good to go.
Okay. Good morning. This is a convening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission for one of our agenda setting meetings, holding this meeting virtually. So I'll take a roll call attendance. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning, I am here.
You know what? I realize that maybe Commissioner Hill may not have yet joined. Commissioner, I'll go to Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Maynard.
Good morning.
And we'll just hold for a second. Commissioner Hill might be just having some challenges joining us. What I can do is start up. I guess I didn't realize he had not joined. Let's see if I can just find him. Here he is. And Commissioner Hill, are you present?
Yes, I am.
Excellent, thank you. And we've checked in with Commissioner Skinner, who's joining right now just on off video. She'll join us in video a little bit. And then Commissioner Maynard's all set. We'll get started. Today is Wednesday, May 10th, and it is public meeting 145, actually. We recognized and give Grace some credit here just in terms of reviewing our documents and the minutes that we were off on, and we needed to reconcile that. So Grace and Ying will take care of that for us. The minutes were right, and our numbering was a little bit off. Okay, so we'll call this meeting to order, and we have some minutes. Commissioner
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that the commission approve the minutes from the April 24th, 2023 agenda setting meeting that are included in the commissioner's packet, subject to any necessary corrections for typographical errors or other non-material matters.
For a second.
Second.
Thank you. Everybody have a chance to review? Okay. Hearing there are no edits or comments. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
Commissioner Maynard.
Aye.
And I vote yes, 5-0. Thank you, Ying. Okay. Moving on then to our agenda planning process. We have the upcoming meeting schedule that everyone can take a quick reference to as we go along, but our next full public meeting is May 16th. And it looks like it's going to be a 1 minute, please. I'm sorry. A good one. Get started. Administrative update, Karen.
Yeah, we can just keep that on. I don't know if this is an administrative update issue or you want a separate agenda item, but the governor has rescinded Executive Order 595. I think that goes into effect May 11th. So that will, it begs the question, does the commission as a body want to adjust their policy on COVID, both the vaccine requirement and what the rules are for guests coming into the office? That also ties into what the commission plan is for using the public space if you want to resume public meetings. So these are all issues that are tied together, and we want to consider putting that on the agenda when convenient for the commissioners.
Commissioners, how would you like to proceed on that? we adopted a policy. Commissioner O'Brien, you were part of that working group. How would you like to proceed?
It is. So I think what might be helpful is if we get a refresher on what the current status is in terms of what are the requirements that we put on visitors, et cetera, coming in. And then we have a conversation about, I think it's bifurcated, right? It's people that are coming in, what are we dropping everything? And then also the question of what are we going to do meetings going forward, I think is a separate question than people coming
Yeah.
in.
I know we can't discuss it here, but Tripti has done a whole bunch of research on not only, what we have and the status. She can update on that. And she can also update on what her research has been done for the executive branch and what their rules and requirements are.
I guess I would also like, could we see what the policy was, the fulsome policy that was adopted for COVID and not just on visitors?
For the MGC that we
Yeah, they-
adopted. Okay, yes.
No, that would include, anything that's written, the whole policy, right? I mean, because.
Yeah, because we had a vaccination requirement and that sort of
Right.
thing, which we may or may not want to drop, right? So I think getting an update on the requirements for staff and visitors was a good jumping off point, and then we can have that conversation.
I actually would, if we just concentrate on vaccination and not look at the whole policy, I kind of feel like, I think it might be helpful for everybody to see what our COVID policy.
Oh, no,
we adopt.
I just did that as an example. I agree with you.
Okay.
I think if
You
we
agree
get,
with that?
you see it as sort of, there's the inward facing and the outward facing. I just threw the vaccination out as an example of something we may.
Okay,
hang
as an
on.
example, got it. So Karen, does that help? Like, just bring it, what was decided, what was adopted. There was a working group for those who weren't here that I asked, two commissioners were on it with members of the team, and there were recommendations made that extended beyond the vaccination. So that's what I'm getting at. I think it warrants a good discussion. I know that the 16th is going to be busy. Grace, is there another day in the future that we can maybe recommend? And commissioners, we would just be a little bit behind the administration. That works for you, Karen?
Whatever day is convenient for the commission, we can do.
Just today's date. I just said it.
The
The,
10th.
10.
so tomorrow is the administration. All right. We're going to be behind in any case. A little bit.
Yeah, we could add it if we added a little bit of time to the 22nd meeting, which is the community mitigation fund application review for transportation applications. And we also added on MGM's quarterly report to that at our last agenda setting meeting. So if we extended that meeting by 30 minutes for now, we can add it on then.
Joe, what are you thinking of in terms of how long is that meeting going to be?
I really think we're gonna be at least a couple of hours on the applications,
Okay.
And then we got, say a half hour for the MGM quarterly.
We have 4 hours right now, which hopefully is enough for applications and the quarterly report.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that should be more than adequate, because we're gonna be doing 2x2s on all of these, so I think the commissioners will be well briefed on the applications.
Okay. Karen, it may make sense then for us to at least try to address that day.
On
What do
the
you think?
22nd.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I think it's important.
If we can get together and just figure out the materials for the packet.
And just so I have everyone and I have everything for all the commissioners who will be reviewing this, the vaccination policy for our employees and our guests are other two items in our current vaccination policy, correct? And
Right.
steps. Okay.
And also, it'd be helpful, a memo to summarize what the executive branch, the rules are now.
Okay,
The commissioners get that as a point of reference, please. Thanks so much.
sure. I just wanted to make sure I had
And
what everyone was looking for.
Well, on any COVID related rules.
Steps
would
that
be-
we've taken as an
That
agency.
were adopted by the commission out of that working group, and that anything that's COVID related should be, it may just be those two that you said, but.
Right, and there are things that tie into that, and actually the HRD just sent out a memo which stated, things around job descriptions and parts of the offer letter, and those are things that we've implemented as well. So I'll share with you all the things that we've done so that way you can make a decision.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, great. All right. Anything else on the administrative update, Karen?
No, that's it. So, yeah, so we don't need to have it, anything particular for the 16th to save some time.
Well, my speaker is defaulting again, as it seems to have, it does it at least once a meeting. There we go. We'll have meeting minutes perhaps, Judy? I don't know if she's on.
Yeah, we're gonna have meeting minutes from November 29th, 2022 and December 1st, 2022.
Great. And
I
then-
say we have a lot of minutes coming your way, folks.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, and then legislative update. We're going to hear from Commissioner Hill and Greg. What's going on Beacon Hill that relates to the game?
We lost you for a little
I'm
bit.
having trouble
Beverly.
hearing. Yeah, you're
You're
cutting in
cutting
and out
in and
again.
out.
Nothing has changed. The speaker. It says,
Now we can hear you.
okay, it's my speaker. I don't know why. Okay. Is it not working again?
Now you're good.
No, now we
Okay.
can hear.
All right, it's telling me all kinds of things. So we'll have a legislative update on everything that's happening on Beacon Hill that relates to the Gaming Commission in some way. Pretty much a high-level discussion at this point in time. And then if there's any action items, you and Grace will coordinate, commissioners. All right. We have a bunch of regulations scheduled, and I understand perhaps too that you wanted to add another one, legal. And I think Grace was perhaps getting concerned about time. So Grace, did you have a chance? I know it was literally 5 minutes before this meeting started, to speak with anyone from legal?
I think Caitlin and I connected, and so legal is going to be adding 222 back to this agenda as well. So we have 5 regulations on. If I think we're pushing up against 5.5 hours for this meeting. And it seems that we could, if we wanted to, have a separate regulation meeting the following week, if we wanted to just do regs at its own meeting.
So not to pile on, but I was talking to Caitlin and Mina yesterday, and they had reminded me of something that was in the minutes we just approved, which where I brought up the concept of the win or lose language that cropped up when they took out the risk-free, no risk from the ads. And I did want to have us have a conversation about making sure our intent is covered in the reg. You know, we didn't write it to say, if you don't say risk-free, you're good. But things like win or lose may run afoul of what we intended. And so I did, apparently April 24th. and since 256 is coming up, I would love to have that conversation with legal too.
Yeah, and we had that on down as a notation, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Because I think we had this discussion before that maybe the language needs to expand to intent and not just the words.
Right.
So to your point, I'm going to turn back to Grace and legal. I forget. So that would be in the advertising 256. 256 is on this list, so that's not adding on. That's the good news. It was contemplated. How is the timing for legal, Grace, if we did push this over to a separate day? Does it work for them?
Yes, I don't believe anything was time sensitive enough that it could wait a week. Correct, Caitlin?
if we-
So nothing was up for a final vote, so we don't have sort of those deadlines for any of these. I wouldn't want to push them off too far. just because we'll start backing ourselves up. Like we have a bunch of regs coming on June 1st, or we're planning to come on June 1st. So happy to move these to another date if necessary. But again, just don't want to back them up too far.
Okay. But 256 is already final, correct, Caitlin?
Yes, and the one thing I will note about 256 is we can bring back sections of it. So we can bring back, 01 and not the whole reg, so that we don't lock
Right.
the whole reg up as necessary.
Yeah. 01 is the section that Commissioner O'Brien's mentioning. That might be helpful to bring up on the 16th because of somewhat of a sense of urgency around that discussion. That, Commissioner O'Brien, I think is what you were getting at in terms of timing, right? All right.
So I apologize, just for our planning purposes, are we taking the regs off of this, or are we just going to see how the meeting goes and then decide at the end?
Let's decide at the conclusion of reviewing through 12. Okay. See what else we are necessities, but I would say for right now, certainly 205 CMR 256 is a necessity, at least with respect to 01. All right. The delegation of authority, we need to adjust that. Commissioner Maynard, Commissioner Hill, and Dr. Lightbound. We were going to make a two-part discussion. I think it's okay that it's become a one. And I think legal was going to maybe memorialize your discussion in some kind of a document for us. How are we doing on that?
I think that we're ready whenever it fits the calendar, right? We got bumped that day, but I think we're ready.
Okay, great. East Broadway expansion, that would be the discussion on priorities. Joe,
Yep.
You'll be
Yeah,
ready?
we should be all set with that. We'll have sort of that laundry list of issues that we want to talk about and see what we want to get from Encore as part of any application.
Okay, and yesterday I did catch up with Joe because we've identified for the public hearing, because we, commissioners, remember we thought that maybe a second might be warranted. It may be that not many attend because in fact we did broadly broadcast that our first public hearing, but some people missed it. So we're going to do a virtual, and June 6th was identified, right?
June 6th, yeah, during the lunch hours.
During the lunch, like 11:30 to 1:30. So Joe and Todd discussed whether or not it would work to have the public hearing after this meeting scheduled for the 16th. And it was agreed that that would work just fine. In fact, we might get some intelligence about even our June 16th meeting.
Yeah, I think they can work in parallel. They don't have to be sequential.
Right. So we'll go forward with the number 6, Encore expansion. All right. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Okay, and then you've got MGM and PPC's quarterly report.
And actually that's Encore and PPC.
That was my mistake. I had the wrong, so it's Encore and PPC.
Encore. Okay, got it. No problem.
Yeah, MGM had a couple of internal conflicts, so we moved them out to the 22nd.
I remember now. Yeah. Okay, and they'll be ready though.
Yes.
All right. Then we have item 8, Commissioner Skinner and Derek, Commissioner Skinner. I don't know if you're able to hear, but you'll be all set for the third quarter budget update next week on the 16th.
We will.
Commissioner Skinner? Okay.
We will.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right. We've got sports wagering.
Yes,
Earl is out and Crystal are at Meadowlands learning a bunch about sports wagering. That's good.
yes. He will be ready for both item 9 and 10.
Great. Okay. And then we've got Bruce, the Fanatics Certificate of Operations. Will they be all set?
They'll be all set, yes.
Good news. Okay. And then we have scheduled Mary Ann. Good morning.
Good morning. We're all set.
You're all set, and that would require an executive session. So nothing dropped off on legal, but commissioners, let's consider our calendars. Do we, I don't know how people feel about that particular day, but if we want to go all in and get everything done that day, we certainly have had longer than 5.5 hour meetings. I just want to check in with you. It may not even be longer than 5.5 hours if we did all those regs, but I wanted to just check in. Should we, rather than pushing it down to just make another meeting, either the 21st, the 22nd, or the 23rd will end up being lengthier. So.
Are we talking about June 1st?
No, we're talking about May 16th.
So
Okay.
I'm not attending, but I know an alert went out about some event. I think Boston Chamber event that night. I'm not attending, but I didn't know if anybody else was. You might be bumping up against
Which one?
a need for someone to get out to Omni Seaport.
It's the Chamber of Commerce annual meeting that night.
Yeah.
Say again?
4:30, 5 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
I'm not going. I just didn't know if anybody else was.
I was not planning on it.
Yeah, I'm fine with an extended meeting on the 16th.
Yeah, and the other one is a big kind of dinner event. It's not such a speaker thing. So we will hopefully not be that late. Okay, so Grace, we're gonna stay with it. We're gonna
Let's do it.
Okay, so Caitlin, let's plan on all 5.
Sounds great.
256:01. Okay, could we leave?
Sorry, and just to be clear, it's not, I don't think it's actually 01. I was just using an example, but I'll make sure that Grace has the right sections for the agenda.
Oh, yeah, this third parties is 01. Yeah, so whatever section it is on the language. I think we've received some input from some stakeholders through the media and other ways, other platforms that Mills has been collecting that might be helpful, Caitlin, to make sure we can address that. Mills has some materials that might be germane to this discussion. So if you could check in with him as you prepare for it.
And what I might say then, just given that these are some additional thoughts and packet materials are basically due today, maybe we can have sort of an initial conversation on the 16th, and then any actual edits can come at a future date.
I'm good with that. Commissioner O'Brien, you're fine with that? Then we could roll over that one to adopt it, but I think the discussion alone is warranted and timely to have it on 16th. Thanks. Okay, so then we turn to the next meeting is May 22nd. Administrative update. We've got some minutes that will come through probably. I don't know if there's anything particular, Karen, for you on that, but now that is.
The COVID update will be that.
That will be your. Thank you. And then we really are dedicating this meeting to Chief Delaney.
Yeah, so Community Mitigation Fund will be ready to go. We actually changed things around a little bit. We will not be doing transportation on the 22nd. We're going to be doing some of the other categories. But we were still waiting for a couple of responses back, and we had to do some coordination with MassDOT. So we've shifted things around. But we'll be doing 2x2s on Monday. So, you know, everybody will get a briefing on the particulars.
Okay.
And then I think the MGM quarterly report, I'm wondering if we shouldn't put that right up front rather than having them, you know, we don't know exactly how long the Community Mitigation Fund applications will go, and it might be good to just get them in and out.
Yeah, and the order of the agenda setting never dictates the order of the agenda. So,
Right.
yeah, so Grace will check in on that. Good. there anything else we need to add?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I kind of, with the volume of things have been coming at us with sports wagering, I'm kind of requesting that sports wagering become a standing item that we could opt out of if we have nothing in the meetings going forward. We've just been getting changes to the House rules on a pretty regular pace. I don't think at this point we have anything for the 22nd, but my guess is we probably will get something. It might be a small item or something like that. So just to be safe, I would like to have something reserved for the sports wagering division.
Karen?
Yeah, so we don't have an agenda setting meeting between now and the 22nd. I think, Bruce and I had talked, I think at agenda setting meetings, it makes sense to address whether there would be something, but we don't have one between now and then. So I think, Bruce, if you have something in particular, the agenda would need the specifics.
Yes.
Or it would be included in the agenda. So you could just work with Grace and Kathy for the 22nd. And then at agenda settings, we can just make a notation. We should always check on the sports wagering. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we'll have sports wagering on our agenda setting as a standing, prompt, right, Bruce?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And then, yeah, and then, when something comes up, working with Grace and me is the best way, and we can be as responsive as possible.
Yes.
We understand your pain, that's for sure.
Yeah, clarifications need to be done, or House rules. It just seems to be steady flow at this point.
Yeah, but for agenda, just to Karen's point, we have to be specific anyway. So just we'll
Yes.
We'll have
Yes.
language.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Anything else, commissioners or team for the 22nd?
Chair, I have a couple items that would be ready on the 22nd if you want to put them on the 22nd. So first, there's a non-compliance matter involving a Category 3 sports wagering operator. DraftKings notified Director Band on March 23rd that it had accepted wagers on an unapproved event for a period in March. And the IEB did review the incident and prepared a written summary of the review that is available for you. And in keeping with the process that you've established, the thought was to provide you with the summary and allow you to discuss it at your meeting to determine how you want to proceed.
That's fine. I don't know if we've established that process. It's come in different ways. Before the non-compliance came to us, and then we asked IEB to review. If it's going to be coming through Bruce, and Bruce makes that decision, we just need, I think the commissioners would want to have, we're waiting for that process, I think, that legal's developing.
Yes, that's correct. General Counsel Grossman has that, at least a draft, and he's finishing up that draft. So that would be presented to the commission for your approval on the process.
Right. In this case, it sounds as though DraftKings made a self-disclosure. So the only reason that we need to understand the process is for purpose of public discussion. It means that the public and the commissioners hear about the disclosure a little bit later than they would have heard when it first came in. So that's a matter for the commissioners to think about, whether it matters to us or not. Commissioners, is there anything you want to weigh in on to help on the process, or should we just wait for the draft to come? I think in the other ones, if you recall, they came to us directly, and then we asked IEB to review. This case came to Bruce. Bruce asked IEB to review. So
I guess the only thing I would want is an alert to us that a self-disclosure came in, almost just like a docket entry or docket list, so that we know, so that if something, if we do say we want to advance this ASAP, we know. I think in general, coming through that way makes the most sense, but I would love us to be able to have some sort of running list, so that if we as a commission get together and say we want to jump this one up, that we know it's out there.
And again, that's because 23N is different than 23K. That's the only way to describe it. So Bruce, it's a little bit of an adaptation from. from what you're used to under gaming. Commissioner Skinner, were you weighing in or just coming in? Okay. Good morning. Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Maynard, any thoughts on? It's probably helpful at this stage to know when the self-disclosures are being made. Like that idea, I mean. Okay. And your next item?
The next item is that the IEB can update you on a recent civil administrative penalty that was assessed under an agreed protocol with MGM Springfield. So we recently executed a matter, and our protocol has been that we've updated you publicly, and we'd be prepared to do that. I think it will probably be about a 20-minute discussion.
Okay, and you're coordinating that with Mills.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else from the team for the 22nd? How are we doing on time, Grace, if you had to guess for that day?
So it was a shortened meeting, given that it was originally just for the CMAQ application review. So we have about 4 hours now. I would say we would need another hour tacked onto that to get through both of IP's issues and the COVID executive order. So we have the time to add on that Monday if it is okay with the commissioners.
So I want to make sure I heard correctly. Did you say that it will work to accommodate most commissioners? And would we have any extra time if there were another item? I couldn't quite hear. Sorry, my speaker.
No, Trudy, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it would be fine to add an hour onto that meeting on the commissioners' calendars. And we would need to add additional time to get through all of these items.
And add another hour to get through just what we just went through. And if we added another item, we might need another half an hour or so. One issue that has come up that, Karen, I believe you're ready to take one portion of the discussion. And this is on the discussion around promo play and policy. A majority of the commission decided that there was discretion in the interpretation of the law that allowed, or there was the ability to give to the interpretation of the law that the commission would have discretion on whether promo play expenditures were tax deductible or not. Karen, we gave Karen a list of items to attend to. It occurred to me that it might make sense to do it a little bit piecemeal in order to make sure that we weren't having Karen jump through hoops unnecessarily. So you have a comprehensive report, Karen, from RSM, is that right?
Yeah, they actually broke it down into two. I was actually very impressed with what they put together, very helpful information. I think CFO Lennon's meeting with them today to review it as well. And so the only issue is some of the information, which is really helpful to put it in context. It's helpful in the promo play issue. It's also helpful, I think, just for the commissioners in understanding how the business works. They really had some good insight, but they have identified that on both their presentations, there's information in there, and I don't think confidential is the word, but would be potentially appropriate for an executive session as opposed to public discussion. So I have the slides. They've identified which slides. I need to just have legal review that. If you'd like to do that kind of briefing by RSM, I think most of it probably would have to be done in an executive session, but legal will give some further advice on that.
So we could do that on the 22nd, or on the 23rd, we have the adjudicatory hearing in the afternoon on PSI. Is that correct, Caitlin and Grace?
That is actually not going to be on the 23rd. There's potentially going to be more paperwork in this case than in the normal cases or regular cases. So they're asking for an early June date. And so I'm working on that.
I'm disappointed. I'll tell you that. I wanted this to get resolved faster. I wanted it to get in front of us. I'll just put that on the public record. Eileen's nodding her head. We asked for these to come in front of us promptly. I've gotten inquiries from the public, from outsiders, and I did ask for them to be attended to quickly. I know we gave an extension. I didn't know that we gave another extension. So.
Well, I'll just say right now, we haven't. We could still keep it on the 20. I believe we could still keep it on the 23rd if necessary. It might be a push.
Is that for them or for us, Caitlin? Just make sure I understand.
Both, given potential filings they may make.
By them.
Yeah.
And then our response. Okay.
Yep.
And just as a housekeeping matter, that hold was till 4 in the afternoon on the 23rd, but I have a hard stop at 3. So I can start earlier than what the hold is, which I think is noon. But I have a hard stop at 3 that day.
Yeah, thank you. I'm assuming there might be somebody has something in the morning because it's a noon start.
Right, that's what I figured. Yeah.
So Caitlin, can you remind me when that first came to us?
It was, I don't have it off the top of my head. It was a little while ago. May have been March.
Yeah, see, these came in March. It's May now. And I think that the issue that's in front of us on that will help inform our operators and us on a critically important subject matter.
We have the pre-hearing conference in the case tomorrow. I'm not sure if that's helpful at all. I could report back after that.
Done, right, Caitlin? That's good progress. So
oh
let's
yeah.
see. So let's look. So it's going to be, we had it marked up for the 23rd. And what day were you looking at in June?
I think I just got the email a couple of days ago. They were asking about early June, and I had not yet connected with Grace and Trudy on that.
Caitlin, is there an interim date where they are submitting material? And so that sounds like that's the issue, that they want more time to submit something and then we have to respond to whatever they submit. Is that the issue?
That's exactly right. So we're going to have the pre-hearing conference tomorrow where we'll have a better sense of if and what they're going to submit, which would then require them to actually submit it, the commission to review it in advance of the actual hearing.
Okay. So it sounds as if there hasn't been a deadline for them to give you the information because our legal team needs time to, it's not fair to.
We did have an earlier date set, Karen, and there was a request for a continuance based on somebody's professional schedule, and we gave it. So there was and so I think perhaps once there was attention given to it, they've learned that maybe there's more paperwork involved that they may not have anticipated. So it sounds like it's getting, pushed down. Commissioners, are you okay with it going into June? Trudy will work her magic to do so. Commissioners, you okay? Commissioner Maynard, thoughts? Commissioner Hill?
No, all set.
Okay,
Seems
Maynard?
fine.
That's a tough question.
It's tough, isn't it?
And I can see Commissioner O'Brien's face too.
Like you check out at the grocery store and they say, is this dollar amount okay? And you're like,
Yeah.
well, it is what it is,
Yeah, I mean, if we can't stop procedurally some of the things that are happening, I understand. But like, I want it on the record that, I want this taken care of in short order and it will have to be okay.
Well, that's kind of how I'm feeling too, right? None of us are jerks. None of us is a jerk. But this does, as Commissioner Maynard points out, it will help inform where we are on these matters. It will probably inform our reg, and it will send, some good information to the industry in general. Commissioner Skinner, Commissioner O'Brien? All set? All right. Trudy, work your magic. We thank you for all that you do, Trudy, to accommodate this busy schedule. And to the legal team, we understand. All right. So that frees up that afternoon. Why don't we do had promo play in the RSM presentation? It'll be mostly an executive session to the early afternoon.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Maynard?
could that be, just in case, could that be part of the public session too and potentially marked up as a vote?
Yes, it could definitely go in and out. I would take care of it that way. But now we have that time, noon to 3, it sounds like, Grace, right? Noon to 3, we could accommodate a public discussion, go into executive session, and then return, just like we did. And Karen, we learned a lot about the business from RSM in our executive sessions before, so I suspect some of it will be new, some of it will be great refreshers. So
I was
they were
also
very,
asking
very
because,
helpful.
Madam Chair, sorry, I was also asking because we've received additional information during this time too, right? And so I'm a little more informed than I was the last time we had this conversation.
Okay, and in terms of any additional information, commissioners, that you want to be included, now would be okay time to say if you want any report from anybody on the team for purpose of promo play, Derek or others. We do have the RSM. My position is very clear. I don't think, and I'm on the record that I think the law dictates that it's not taxable. And I mean that it is taxable and not deductible. So I will let those who voted differently from Commissioner O'Brien and me decide what you want.
Well, can I actually?
Yeah.
I voted the same way. I'm of the same mind, but I'm also, I believe there's a responsible gaming impact on that choice as well. So in terms of if this is a discretionary choice on the part of the other 3, I do think hearing from Mark's group on this and the impact of removing taxation on promo plan, what it does to advertising in RG, I think is part of this conversation. Right.
Commissioner O'Brien, I appreciate your helping our colleagues figure out the policy development. But yeah, I think the 3, when you're thinking about the discretion, certainly RG issues. Is there anything else for those?
Madam Chair, I'm going to try to be very careful on what I do because I know it wasn't marked up today. So I'm going to be very careful on what I say, but I do want to get this over to Commissioner O'Brien's point. I still think that we have the right to make the decision. I still believe, in what was written in the November 8, 2022 memo to us. But I know more now about what I think the legislature was intending to do on that early August morning. And I'm really hesitant. I'm not going to stop my fellow commissioners, but I'm really hesitant to spend a lot of the team's time now that I've informed. My decision is now informed, I feel, and that's even without the RSM information. But I'm open-minded, but I think my decision's informed.
So commissioners, we could approach this in a couple of ways. I could take the temperature of the room going in and see if in fact there has been changes in positions with respect to the vote before, either it may not be the same action taken. I think the question presented might be different, Commissioner O'Brien. If we were looking at strictly the interpretation of the law, to the extent that you're looking at having discretion in that interpretation, if it makes sense to take the temperature of the commission in advance of our doing more work to understand the direction of your decision, I'm happy to do that. Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Skinner, Commissioner Maynard.
I think that makes sense, Madam Chair. I feel similar to Commissioner Maynard. We've received some additional information outside of the responsible gaming realm, outside of the RSM financial realm. If you recall, I think I posed this question to Commissioner Hill. Is it reasonable for us to, solicit input from, the legislature? We didn't do that as far as I know, but we did hear from the legislature. And so I think with that additional information and correspondence, I'm okay with you taking the temperature, because Commissioner Hill's right. There's no need to send staff down a road that, is not going to make a difference either way if we are revisiting the initial vote as to whether or not the commission has the authority to make these deductions taxable or non-taxable.
And I'm happy to hear this, because I did say to Karen, maybe pause on the work, because she was going to do a slew, more, a bunch more things, and it was going to take a lot of time. So we put a pause until we could have this discussion and at least have the RSM stuff. The RG, I know Mark would be ready for. So should we take the temperature immediately and not even, and then reserve the right to go to the RSM? Or should we wait on even asking RSM to be present? If so, what we could do is.
I'm actually, Madam Chair, I mean, the work has been solicited and produced by RSM. And I think in terms of just an educational exercise for the commission, even if there is a consensus that no more information is needed, and obviously the time pressure is different, but I would still want to hear RSM's analysis.
As would I.
If that needs to be done in a public meeting, fine, but it could be, in a 2x2 as well, perhaps.
I was thinking of literally that we're paying them to do it. So if we really think it's a value, then we can go forward. And I think we should just do it as part of our public meeting, just as I described. Start off, take the temperature, go into executive session here, come back, and then if they convince you in a way that you would shift your thinking, something influences you, we would take the final vote on the matter if we're prepared at that time. Is that what you would like? And then Mark could weigh in too. But it will be then, we'll reserve that time on March 23rd for that discussion.
Excuse me, may I just ask about the reg side of this? Would we be expected to have draft language for that, or would we hear the vote and then could we come back with language based on the vote?
Well, I never thought a reg was necessary, Caitlin, but I'm not going to weigh in. What do we want to do?
I think we have. I don't know if it was 40 or not. Derek can help me if necessary, but the reg is already promulgated as final. That I guess the logical place where this would go.
There's no reg on this.
There is a logical location for this provision of the reg if we would like promulgate it. And I think it would require, Caitlin would have to weigh in, but I think it would just require an amendment. But that being said, it's not my feeling that legal should be prepared with draft language on the 23rd.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask, am I mistaken? Was there a reg that was put in front of us on this?
240 would be the logical place if there was some kind of amendment for it to go, but you're correct that there is not a particular reg on this issue.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Did I not say that? I thought that's what I said.
I couldn't quite hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought I
gets to the, to remind everyone, this gets to the discussion of defining for accounting purposes. If you recall, I've said over and over that. Well, I just wanted to define, because you said there wasn't a reg, and we talked about this multiple times during that discussion, the definition of the gross gaming revenue and I know adjusted gross sports wagering revenue and how it could be differently defined under GAAP. And we've talked about that 4 or 5 times. So Commissioner Skinner is correct.
Thank you,
This
Derek.
was part of the regulation. There is
Thank
something
you.
to talk
Thank
about.
you, Derek. Thank you very much. We're good. I think that we are going to have our fulsome discussion on the 16th, and then I'll turn to Caitlin and our legal team to figure out whatever regulation is needed. Thanks. And I'm sure they'll be weighing in with you, Derek. All right. So we've got about 9 more minutes. May 30th. Is there anything else on the 22nd? The 23rd will have just promo plays or anything else on promo on the 23rd that needs to go forward. Okay, May 24th, we have an agenda setting meeting. Do we have anything else that has to follow May 20th? Okay, May 30th. Our next meeting, is that right, Grace?
Yep, and that one is just for CMF application review. Originally for public safety, but it sounds like that's getting shifted a bit.
Yeah, we're gonna rejigger some of those things again, just on, I think that might be the transportation one. And we've also been working with Grace to lock up one more day specifically for Community Mitigation Fund. Trying to fit all those in is in other meetings, it doesn't seem like it's really gonna work.
Yep, so that was another question for the commission. I think if you all would like, we could add it to the mid-June meeting, June 15th. It sounded like for Lily that they might need another 2 to 3 hours. So we can tack it on to that meeting, or if you would rather have a separate meeting in mid to late June, just on the remaining applications, we can do that as well. So I'm not sure.
What do you think, commissioners?
So my question is what's exactly on for the 30th? I have a medical in the morning. And so I'm going to be possibly able to hop on at 10 for the first half hour or so. So are we talking about being able to shorten the meeting on the 30th, or is this in addition to what's already on the hold?
No, this is in addition. The 30th is gonna probably be all the transportation planning and construction. And then we were gonna look for, excuse me, one separate meeting for public safety. You know, public safety is the majority of our applications, so we felt that that really needed its own day, or at least a big block of time at a meeting.
Right. Okay.
And you're saying that would be May 30th? For public safety?
May 30th would be
Transportation.
transportation.
And June 15th would be public safety.
Yeah.
Does that work for you, Commissioner Bryan? How much time would you be off?
So I'm basically, I'll be in the car for the better first part of that morning on the 30th, but I will be until about 10:15, 10:30. I may need to leave the meeting for a brief period of time. It's a medical for one of my kids. And so I'm going to need to disappear for a little bit, sometime between 10 and 10:30. And then after that, I can be on the car and participating in back once I get back. So
are you okay?
Just that first, if you did a 10:30 start, that would probably help me a little if we could do it 10:30 instead of 10.
Commissioners, does that work for, I don't know, Trudy on the other end, does that work for everybody?
It does.
Yeah.
Happy to accommodate.
Great. Commissioner Skinner, all set? Okay. Commissioner Hill, great. Thank you. So anything on the 30th that we would need to add in addition to community mitigation besides anything else that's standing? Doesn't look like any regs. I don't have Todd, but I've got Caitlin. Nothing other than for regs on that day.
So we had been planning on regs on June 1st. If there is a timing, and it's sorry, I should clarify regs that are not already on the agenda on the 1st, non-racing related regs. So if there was time on the 30th and you wanted to add regs to that date instead of the 1st, I think we could make that tweak on our end.
Oh, okay. So we'll turn to the 1st to see how that goes. Besides regulation, anything else, commissioners? I mean, our team members. Okay, so June 1st, another fulsome day that does include right now, look at racing, which is exciting. Caitlin, I'm not going to go through administrative update because of timing, Karen, but on the first regulations, we have racing and the racing application review and the ADW regs, and then whatever regs you have in mind. As well as the escrow for Dr. Lightdown. She's
Right, so I think we have about 4 additional regs that we would want to put on that date. So if you think that the meeting time is okay, we're happy to sort of do that all together. If not, we could try to move the additional regs to the 30th.
How long do you think you need, Caitlin, for if we were to do all racing and the additional regs?
The racing, Judy, if you're on, do you have a sense of how long the racing will take? Judy's been really taking the lead on this racing piece of this. And I'll take a look at the regs and see.
I don't see her on.
Oh, I would say at least an hour and a half, 2 hours on the racing.
Oh, no, she's on, but maybe not hearing us. So sorry.
Oh, sorry. That would be my estimate for that. It's just a lot of different areas. There'll be a lot of sort of walking back through what all the processes are, I think. The regs for the big reg for the first is going to be the data privacy reg. There'll be, I think, a robust discussion about that. The other regs aren't that detailed, or there's not that many changes. So I would say maybe an hour and a half on the regs.
Okay, so let's explore, Grace. Keep in mind what Caitlin offered, that maybe she could split up a little bit of the reg work and do May 30th versus on June 1st. If, we start to time that out, okay? I might take you up on that offer, Caitlin.
Okay. And I'll just have to check with A&K, of course, but if we need to do that, we can work.
I like that we've got kind of good horse racing theme going on. Dr. Lightbound, how are we doing with respect to the escrow issue?
Yeah, he still wants that on.
Good, okay.
And how long do you think you need for that?
I would say it might go half an hour. It really depends on how many, how detailed the conversation is with the commissioners.
Okay. All right, that will work out just fine. It's good to get that addressed. Now we have Mark. You've got the Encore and the license plate study.
Yes, to break the racing theme, I'd like to bring that forward. We're set for that date.
And timing on that, Mark?
Could we say 40 minutes, 30-minute presentation, 10-minute discussion?
Okay. Commissioners, are we all set? Then we've got Commissioner Skinner and Derek on the initial fiscal year 24 budget. Nikisha, Derek?
I'm going to defer to Derek.
We should be set.
All set? And this is initial, then the final will be a little bit later in the month, right, Derek?
Correct.
Okay.
After we put it out for public comment.
2 weeks later. Okay. So that's going to be a good full meeting, but do we have anything else from the team for June 1st? Okay, June 15th. Right now it looks really, we just rolled something in the community mitigation, right?
Yeah, and that with public safety, I think we have 24 applications. I mean, if each one took 10 minutes, we're talking a pretty long period of time. Some of them probably won't take that long, but it's 3 to 4 hours, I would say.
Good.
The only comment about that is I will be traveling out of the country on that day, and I see that's for the budget review. So I don't know if you would prefer that I be there on the day to do the budget review. We need to get it done by the end of the year, but I'll just flag that. I know we don't have to resolve that.
Well, we can maybe look at the next date, right, Grace, for that? Because it has to just be before June 30th, right, Derek?
Well, and I believe, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, they need 2 weeks before the end of the month.
So what we had done this year was we pushed it up 2 weeks just in case there were additional questions on sports wagering, because it's the first time we're doing a full budget. But as long as we get, and if there were a lot of comments coming back from public comment, we can play that by ear. If we don't have a lot of comments as of the 15th, we can absolutely push this to the 30th. But the 15th would just be to deal with public comments. And then Karen, if you weren't around for that, we could always vet those ahead of time.
Okay.
And then let the commission think about that and come back on the 30th to make a final vote.
And it would be the 29th is the next public meeting, June 29th.
29th.
Okay.
Should we just plan on that then, Karen?
Yep, that's good.
All right. So in addition to the community mitigation fund, we're gonna roll budget over. Commissioner Skinner, you're okay with that, right? All right, thank you for the thumbs up. And then nothing else right now. So it could truly be basically a community mitigation fund day, Joe, which, you know, we want to make sure we give every application its due. Oh,
Mark's hand is
I
up.
see Mark. Yeah, I see him now.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Mark.
We are
And-
due for a GameSense
Yes,
quarterly report.
yes.
And I think we can make it relatively brief, but I was also going to ask Long if he could provide an update on the voluntary self-exclusion program enrollment, especially with the introduction of sports wagering and having both programs fully up and running now.
Yeah, and I know we talked about that, Mark. Gracie, how you feeling? Is this a good
Yep,
day?
let's up it to the 15th.
If that works for Long. Right? That will be just a really happy day. GameSense and community mitigation. I'm just pulling up notes. Okay. Okay. So far as we've gone along, before we get to under review, Race, in your helpful notes, what we haven't addressed in my quick review is, I believe, commissioners, you asked for an update on the 90-day audit. If you remember correctly, that would come from Director Van Schop.
Yeah.
So what day would be best to add that to? Do you have that in mind, Bruce, at all?
I would say everything should be done by June 15th. We could probably add it in there, or
That would be a short and like a sports wagering update, Karen.
yes.
Is that okay that you wouldn't be there for not for that? Karen, that's okay, right? If you're not there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Let's put that in, Bruce, if the timing works.
Yes.
All right. Thanks. Okay. Nothing else for June 15th, right, team? Commissioners, are you all set? Then let's go to under review. 1104. ILAB, they under review, Commissioner Hill?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. I think we're good on Encore Broadway expansion now.
Yeah.
Commissioner O'Brien, Compliance Committee?
So the conversation that will start in the next meeting about the officers can then springboard into a conversation on compliance. But for now, I think we leave it under review, given what's up in the next month.
Okay. Springfield Community Driven Research Project, Mark.
Yeah, we're finishing that up but I want to keep it under review.
I'm really looking forward to hearing that one. Okay, and Commissioner Skinner and Joe on the HCA compliance.
Yeah, setting up some of my meetings right now with the licensees to start these discussions. This will probably be a sort of a multi-meeting kind of thing with them, because it's more than just the HCA, it's the surrounding community agreements, it's sections one findings, it's the whole sort of external compliance component.
Joe, can you work closer with Commissioner Skinner?
Absolutely.
Commissioner Skinner?
Yes.
I'm listening.
No, I don't have anything to add. I'm sorry if I gave that impression.
No, it's me. I'm just having a little bit trouble hearing sometimes at the beginning, especially at the beginning, it kind of kicks off. So, so you're all set, because I know that you asked for that, and I think it's a really important discussion. So if you can be part of that process, Nikisha, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right. Oh, Dr. Lightbound, recognition of the Jockey Guild.
Yeah, if we can keep that under review for now.
Okay. And then Director Ban, only Bally's, right?
Yep, we're waiting to hear a date on Bally's, so yes, that's still under review.
Okay. Have we done their house rules?
Pardon me?
We do their house rules.
No, we're still waiting to get all that from Bally's.
Oh, okay. Maybe we can just include that too then. Are we,
Yes.
any other house rules outstanding?
The house rules come in bits and pieces, and they're always amending them, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. Then we have kind of a sort of process questions that Karen, I think you will be working with Bruce and team on the event catalog additions and that process. I think that's underway. That can go into review then, Bruce.
Yes.
And then on number 9, I think that came from a suggestion from me where a good idea that comes up, if maybe the sports division could maybe make a recommendation to us that you'd like to have it be universal, but I know that that means legal needs to weigh in on how that approval process would work. So you're
Correct.
working, okay. And then the risk-free, we addressed that, right, Commissioner Bryan? All set then? Grace, anything that we need to address right now?
No, I think we got through everything in the nick of time.
Okay, so next for the commissioners, we have a public meeting that starts in 7 minutes. So just a quick break. We will have a executive session at the end of that meeting. We anticipate that. So just be mindful of when you need breaks. Okay, commissioners, I know it's going to be a little bit of a long morning. So thank you. So if there's nothing else, team, thank you so much for everybody's input. Sorry, I had to be a little bit compressed, but keeps us going. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner, you moved on me.
Aye.
And Commissioner Maynard, you moved on me. Thank you.
All right.
And I vote yes, 5-0. Thank you so much, everyone.